Diablo 4 Season 10 has launched. What's the verdict? Does it beat Season 2? Is it worth coming back for? We also got this week the surprise reveal of the IP collab crossover event, and I don't think any of us correctly guessed what franchise is coming to Diablo 4. But talking about surprises, we also got a surprise reveal of a console port and expansion for Last Epoch, and we'll discuss why that has some of the community concerned. But then something that has alleviated concerns from the community was a new message from GGG about Path of Exile 2's endgame. Great changes are coming that are looking to turn things around. We'll cover all those topics and more in this video. Hey folks, this is Rhykker, and I dig into ARPG and gaming news so that you can spend more time playing games. Chapters below to skip to different topics. But before we dive in, folks, a word from this video's sponsor, the Galaxy Projector, and why don't we just show you? Let's turn off my regular studio lights and enable the Galaxy Projector. As you can see right there, the Galaxy Projector projects a sort of planetarium-style night sky right in your own home. You can change the color of the nebula to whatever you want. You can also have multiple colors rocking at once. You can of course adjust the intensity, the brightness, and if you don't want the laser, you can disable the laser as well. And if you don't want rotation, you can make it stay perfectly still. It is fully customizable. You could even set it on a timer, all in the little handy app. And don't worry, it's energy efficient. It's not going to rocket up your electricity bill. So if you want to add some ambiance to your room, whether it's your bedroom, your office, your living room, when you have guests over, maybe you're feeling a little festive, maybe you want to add some mood lighting to your Dungeons & Dragons game, you can check out the Galaxy Lamps store and use code Rhykker to get 15% off. Starting off with Diablo news. Season 10, the Season of Infernal Chaos, kicked off this week. I have my Ultimate Season 10 guide video that went up yesterday if you're looking to dive in and wondering how to level up quickly and get the most out of the season theme. And if you're wondering what class to play, I also have my class tier list video. Do check those out. My early impressions of the season are positive. Leveling 1 to 60 was a nice, different experience thanks in large part to Chaos Rifts. Those are real fun to chase down in Helltides. Kind of gives Season 7 vibes. Right? How, we were leveling in Helltide and there were all those different events and quests to go after, but it's not nearly as chaotic, despite being the Season of Chaos, ironically, because you don't have all these like different objectives to chase down like a frog or something. It's always the Chaos Rifts, but those Chaos Rifts themselves, they will have different rewards attributed to them, so they do offer kind of little different experiences, both in terms of reward and in terms of what monsters might come out. Then as well, those new baby Infernal Hordes that drop periodically, allowing us to sometimes do Infernal Hordes during the 1 to 60 journey, further broke things up. Then the season powers, the Chaos perks, they are crazy strong, both for leveling and at endgame. That's a problem we've kind of had in the past with the powers, is that they tend to like feel, you just don't feel their impact at endgame. Not the case at all anymore. They are super powerful. They are a multiplier. They are a force multiplier for your build. This is absolutely a power creep season. I got to Torment 4 on day 1. The Chaos Rifts appearing in Nightmare Dungeons as well are great, and also having the indicator on Nightmare Dungeon sigils when that dungeon is an active whisper. Well, now it actually gets me to run those Nightmare Dungeons. Now, something that everyone basically gets hit with right away is, oh man, these Chaos Rifts are tough. I keep seeing people ask me, hey, do you think they're like a little overtuned? They are overtuned, but I think it's fine. I actually kind of like it that way. They're a little difficulty spike. And that difficulty, though, it mostly comes from the dodgeable projectiles that come out. So typically we're playing pretty mindlessly at this level, or just all the time. So we don't realize that's what's killing us. But if you pay attention, most of the time that you're going to die to one of those Chaos Rifts, it's because some wave has come out, because you're standing too close. So what I do is I go close, I click on it, then I back away, because that effect that comes out right away, if you're right close to it, you can't dodge it. If you're further away, it gives you time to maneuver around it. So I like that it encourages a little bit more careful, less brainless play without being, stupidly difficult. And it just feels like you're rewarded for taking on that extra little challenge. Then boss immunity phases being gone is great. I found myself at one point in a state of gearing progression where I did ridiculous damage, but I had no defenses. and I could not just DPS down the lair bosses, which is good. I could maybe get like their first shield to come up, but then I'd invariably get hit by something and die. I mean, if I really wanted to brute force my way through and try again, I probably could, but it's just, at that point, there's no more time efficiency. Or really, I mean, it would come down to me having learned the boss's mechanics so well that I'd be dodging everything, in which case I'd be beating it via skill, which is also good. You want the immunity phases to become irrelevant on builds that have gone to the point where they can tank and destroy the boss, and the immunity phase was just an annoying nuisance that was prolonging the fight without actually making it more challenging. So that's what they seem to have accomplished now. Then the changes to Infernal Hordes, mostly positive. The new Chaos Waves are awesome. The Bartuk fight is cool. My one complaint about Hordes is that Spires, despite being buffed for their Ether rewards, are actually worse now. I don't know how they did it. I don't understand it at first. They changed it so that now the enemies have to be inside the circle to count. It used to be that you can be inside the circle and you can kill monsters outside of the circle and that would count. So these used to really suck for melee players, since ranged players could just kill enemies a screen away, while melee players were stuck in the circle waiting for the enemies to come to them. And it feels like the devs said, okay, Spires suck for melee players, so now we'll make it so that Spires suck for everyone. Like, if you're on a minion build, you can't even really stop yourself from killing enemies before they get into the circle. Now, thankfully, Adam Fletcher already commented on social media that there's some changes coming to Spires to help in response to the feedback that has been coming in. At this point, I feel like the entire circle concept just needs to be thrown out. Nothing interesting has been done with it. You know, I thought maybe like, okay, they're going to like add some blessings that can extend the radius of the circle or something, but as far as I can tell, just nothing's going on with it. Maybe change the Spire entirely to a spout that poops out a specific number of little monsters, right? You know, we have events that spawn one big monster, like maybe a couple boss monsters. We don't have an event, I don't think, that spawns just, you know, poops out a bunch of little monsters. So turn the Spires into a small monster fountain. But aside from Spires, I feel like this season can be deemed as successful as Season 2 was. Lots of people seem to hold Season 2 as like their favorite, the best season of D4. You know, we got Bloodtide. That was a new exciting overworld activity. It was basically better Helltide. So everyone really enjoyed engaging in Bloodtide. And then the Blood powers were new. These gave us a cool power boost. Now, those things just kind of became a natural part of the game, right? Bloodtide just became Helltide. Everything good from Bloodtide was integrated into Helltide, and now we just have powers all the time. So it's not novel anymore. But in Season 10, at least now, we got a new fun activity, Chaos Rifts, and these permeate multiple areas of the game. We have them in Helltide, we have them in Nightmare Dungeons. They sort of appear as well in Infernal Hordes, and it's something that I really enjoy engaging with wherever I run into it. So I kind of equate it to being something as fun as the Bloodtide in Season 2, plus our perks, right? The Chaos perks. They're a much bigger boon than the powers of Season 2. And then throw on top of that the Chaos Armor, which is yet another power boon and a new kind of itemization to chase. It's really hard to argue that this isn't the best implementation of a season in D4 yet. You know, will I be happy when we move off of powers for at least a bit and introduce some season theme that has a tentpole that is not something that is powers or perks or otherwise people can just point at and say that's just powers with a mustache? Yes, definitely. But for what we have, I think it's well delivered. And I had some concerns about Chaos Armor, about, oh man, like this is possibly introducing a new itemization puzzle that's going to be a nightmare because you have to get the right unique on the right slot and all that. With how much more powerful we are this season, it doesn't even really feel mandatory to get the perfect Chaos Armor for your build, which kind of just transforms it into a nice bit of chase gear. I'm sort of looking at it the way that I used to look at Mythics, where it's like, I don't need Mythics. If I get it, awesome. It's something to look forward to. And that's sort of how I'm regarding Chaos Armor right now. The ones that I have, sure, I'll work in where I can, but I'm not going to feel like, oh, my build is incomplete until I get the right Chaos Armor pieces, because I'm already destroying all the content in the game. Now, all that said, come back next week and see how I feel once we're more than a week into the season. But how are you folks liking Season 10? So, do I recommend Season 10? If you enjoy Diablo 4 in general, yes. If you don't enjoy Diablo 4, no. If you haven't played Diablo 4 in forever, now's a good time to come back and revisit it and see if you're going to like it now. But those of you who have tried it, what are your thoughts? Sound off in the comments. Give your recommendations to folks as well. And folks looking to see if they should come back, don't just take my word for it. Look at the other comments as well. If people are overwhelmingly saying, it's the same crap, make your voices heard. We also got the reveal of the IP collab this week. And as I expected, it was something that I would have never expected. Starcraft. I'm not mad. I love Starcraft. It's one of my favorite franchises since my childhood. But I was expecting another out-of-house collab, so I wasn't even thinking of Blizzard properties. And this time around, it really is just shop skins. There's no activity at all, no baylets to collect, no gameplay component whatsoever. There's free stuff in the shop as well, by the way, there's Twitch drops too, but all the sexiest, coolest cosmetics are the paid ones. Now, I was hoping that they were going to do more with their collabs, but I guess I'm also fine with them just dropping all pretense and focusing their efforts elsewhere. They didn't hype this up like it was some big thing. They haven't even mentioned it since the initial roadmap ages ago. If these crossover shop skins just pop up every so often, so be it. It's harmless. Hopefully, in the meantime, they're working on a fun Halloween event. Oh, and speaking of StarCraft, quick StarCraft 2 news. Out of nowhere, StarCraft 2 got a PTR update where they're testing out a bunch of balance changes. Between this and the crossover event in D4, it's like Blizzard is suddenly paying attention to StarCraft, and it begs the question, why? What else do they have planned for this beloved franchise? Then in some Last Epoch news, out of nowhere, at the PlayStation State of Play that happened this week, we got the announcement of an expansion, Last Epoch Orobis, which will come to PC and PS5. So yes, announcement of a console version of the game, as well as an expansion. And we have literally zero details apart from what I just said, other than them calling it their, quote, first major expansion. The gameplay footage that they showed during this reveal was all from the current game that we have access to, so we didn't even get a tease or a glimpse at what this expansion could be. Now, first off, I want to make clear, this is great news. Lots of people wanted to see Last Epoch come to console. Every time I cover the game, I keep seeing people ask, did it come to console yet? Or, maybe when it comes to console, I'll pick it up. So I'm glad that this could finally happen. And I strongly believe that this is thanks to the acquisition by Krafton. EHG is now getting the support that they need to make this console version of Last Epoch happen. But I also suspect Krafton is the reason this is not just a port, but rather an expansion. More on that in a bit, because I've seen some concern among some in the community over this announcement. There was a belief by some that all future content for the game would be free, and that without an assurance that this expansion will be free for PC players who already own the game, we don't know for sure whether it will be free on PC or not, and that's concerning some people. It's also unusual to announce an expansion for a game before the story of the base game has come to a conclusion. We just got the latest chapter in the most recent season, but we're still not done the story, so we would have thought, okay, well, they would at least conclude the story before announcing an expansion. But the most irregular thing of all is that I don't think I've ever seen an expansion announcement happen that included literally no details, images, or footage about it. So I'm going to paint a picture here. I don't know if this is what happened, but it feels like it's at least a possibility. EHG has wanted the game to come to console for years. Through the Krafton acquisition, they knew that they could make that happen. Then Krafton wants to be able to make a big announcement at the PlayStation State of Play about this, but they feel that console port isn't a big sexy enough announcement. So they say, how about you make an expansion? And EHG says, well, we weren't planning to make an expansion. We're just going to keep rolling out our seasons as planned. And Krafton says, if you want to make PlayStation happen, you have to make an expansion. And that's why there's no details or materials or footage, because there was no expansion before Krafton demanded it. Just a guess here. I don't know. And in fairness, expansion does not have to mean like a paid Diablo-style expansion. It could mean a Path of Exile-style expansion. GGG has taken to naming their big updates expansions, even though they're free, right? It's just a marketing term, basically. Now, I think if this announcement had simply been a console port reveal, it would be 100% universally well received and celebrated by the community, and everyone will be happy. Big W's in chat all around. I think announcing an expansion and having no details, no screenshots, no footage, and no answers to the community's questions was a terrible marketing move, and I believe Krafton is at fault for this, and not EHG. I'm sure EHG will make Orobis a great expansion, whether it was planned or not. I'm sure they'll reveal more details with time. And I still believe that this is overall a positive announcement. But what do you folks think? Sound off in the comments. Then in some Path of Exile news, game director Jonathan Rogers released a video in which he spoke about major changes coming to the endgame, which were originally planned for the 0.4.0 patch, but instead they decided to leave 0.4.0 for new content and bring some of the systems changes to endgame in upcoming patch 0.3.1. And those changes? Towers are effectively dead. We will no longer need to use towers to juice maps. Instead, we can apply tablets directly onto a map. A map can receive a total of 3 tablets, and tablets have a limited number of uses before they are consumed. Towers will remain in the game, but they will just serve as a way to gain visibility on the atlas, and when you complete a tower, you'll get an extra tablet to drop. That by itself is a great change, but wait, there's more. All maps now have bosses, and once you kill the boss, the map is done. You can move on if you want, or you can keep exploring and killing monsters, but no more need to hunt down every rare on a map. You'll still run into maps that have the boss icon on them, and these will have tougher bosses with extra rewards. Also, each map will automatically get 1 to 3 extra features added onto it, like Breach, Shrines, Delirium, etc. And that's in addition to anything already on the map natively or via tablets that you've added. So even more fun content is being packed into every map. Oh, and Citadels are having their spawn rate increased by 60%. On top of that, modifiers that cause the area to be covered in chilled or shocking or ignited ground now cause much less ground to be covered. At least 66% of the ground effects currently covering the ground will be removed. This is such a huge win for Melee especially, but really everyone. Aside from all that, you'll now be able to use alchemy orbs on magic items to turn them into rares, replacing their existing mods with 4 new random mods, slamming magics into rares. Overall, it's like they're transforming PoE 2 more into a sequel to PoE 1, and in this case at least, it's for the better. Then quickly, in other news, reviews for Hades 2 are coming in, and it looks like we have another Game of the Year contender in what is already a stacked year. On OpenCritic, it has a top critic average score of 92 out of 100, with 98% of critics recommending the game, and a player rating of 90 out of 100. Have you folks played the full release of Hades 2? Sign off in the comments with your early impressions. Because that's going to wrap up this video, but do be sure to check out last week's video in which we discussed the newly revealed game from some ex-Blizzard veterans that is basically creating an entirely new genre. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more gaming content.